All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. We'd like to hear your views on every single thing that we're going to talk about here. It's a Jubilee scorecard we're talking about, and we'll talk about it in stages. There's devolution, there's healthcare, there's education, all of that. Infrastructure, economy, we'll talk about that in just a bit. But for now, let's start off with the dailies. And let me introduce my guest real quick. Honorable Beatrice Elachi is here. She's the Chief Administrative Secretary, Public Service and Gender. Thank you so much for making time. Irungu Nyakera is also here, former PS Devolution. We're still waiting for Honorable Richard Onyonka, Member of Parliament, Kitutu Churches South. As soon as he comes in, we'll usher him right into the conversation. But let's start off with the dailies. Daily Nation here, front page, return of retirees, they say. So in 2019, House passed a motion to reduce retirement age to 55 years, with proponents citing need to create jobs. Now there's a revelation here by the Daily Nation. Geriatric bill, they say, which largely addresses welfare of the elderly, proposes rehiring of pensioners in critical services like health, national security, and education. The proposed law is likely to revive debate on keeping retired professionals in employment as qualified young Kenyans languish on the streets. Honorable Elachi, what are your thoughts on this? Is this a good move or a wrong move?
There are two things about it, and first of all, thank you so much. I know it's a good morning. We thank God in all that we've gone through, but here we are. Two things. I think when you look at now with the new constitution and with devolution, we need a few of this blending of. You have people who have gone with experience, they are emeritus, they are at home. But I know if they go into the counties, they go and support. It depends of now, are you putting them on a small contract or do you need them once in a while? But we need them just to give that expertise now within the counties to support and move and see your counties grow, because you are there at home and maybe you would have supported your county in either way, but there's no framework of you walking into a county and say, I have this expertise and I would wish to support my county. Some of them maybe will not even go for payment. You know, some will just want to volunteer and just give their expertise. And given an opportunity, I think it can really help Kenya. I always wonder where the retired generals and others in the army, even those who have really worked within them, where are they? You know, when you talk of challenges of security within the different communities that we have, these would have been people, if you have a framework within their localities, they can support. They can support and come in and give their expertise on how people can live together, work together with no conflict, because they have been in that structure. They have a way of living within order because of how they are. But
there are those who argue that this then crowds out the young people, the young professionals who are maybe just as qualified, maybe just lack experience.
Well, I don't think it crowds. I've always said every person has space in whatever you do. And that's why I've said it depends on the framework you put in. Because are they coming for a full pensioner job? No, they're not coming for a full pensioner job. But at the same time, the young people that we have also, we have to agree we need mentors, even at work. Because you're given an office, yes, and you find yourself, like in government, you know, nobody talks to you. In government, you're just given an office and you start working. But you'll always want to see, who can I go to question and ask a few of these things in the end of the day. Because you're given an office and people assume, see, you asked for the job, there is the job. But you find that person is struggling, not because he doesn't know the job, not because he can't do it. He can do it, but there's that bureaucracy structure of government that you'll always want somebody to mentor you through it.
Okay. Irungu, what do you think? Good move or wrong move?
Thank you very much, Trevor, and good morning to all the viewers. Personally, I feel it's a very retrogressive move because about 15% of the government civil servants are below 40 years. And I believe about 35% between 40 and 50, and 50% above 50. So if there are mentors who are required, they're already there. What we have is a system that does not bring in, try to absorb younger the younger people into the civil servant. Actually, in my view, we should actually reduce the age, retirement age, to 55. and then the other people, as they retire, you bring in the new people, and you can have a way of actually mentoring them through the system. But in terms of trying to just allow the older generation to keep staying there, we'll get to a time when only 10% of the population will be under 40. So I think it's time that the system starts appreciating that the need to bring in the young generation. It is true, as for young people coming in, they have less experience, and that's why that's really life. So they have to be ushered in into it. But I think this will be quite retrogressive if we allowed it.
You don't think there's a space for institutional memory? Someone who knows what happened all through the channel rather than someone who's just qualified but they don't have experience?
You see, the reason we actually have the retirement age is everyone is very clear by 60 they'll have retired. So if there's anything that needs to be passed on to the others, then it should be done in a proper way and in a timely way, with that appreciation that by 60 they will all have left. So if we make it that you can still stick on beyond 60, you'll actually find that people don't want to pass on skills. I was when I was a PS for transport, we had that issue with senior engineers at the railways until we had some who were 78. But they're holding all the files. They don't want to pass on any information because they know once they pass it on to the younger people, they're no longer needed at work. So I think that's why it's necessary. We are clear that by 55 or 60 that they're retiring. They're having the need for passing on that information and that memory, institutional memory, to be retained, then to be that period that they need to do whatever it is that they need to do.
All right. Still on the front pages of the Daily Nation and on, this is actually almost the same as the Standard. Uhuru and Raila's strategy for Grand Coalition to make Azimio la Umoja attractive. President Kenyatta and ODM leader Odinga are mooting changes to the law to entice smaller parties to join the alliance while shielding MPs who defect from the risk of losing their parliamentary seats. This is likely to open the floodgates of party hopping in the run-up to 2022 general election. This is almost the same as New Party, which is on the Standard now. New Party backs Raila, cautions Mudavadi. ODM leader's quest for presidency got a boost after breakaway faction from Senator Moses Wetangula's Ford Kenya party backed him and urged ANC leader to join the team if he wants to be part of the next government. Elachi, how important is the backing of smaller parties for a presidential candidate?
First of all, let's appreciate that the moment we decided we will have many parties in terms of our democracy, and the law allows that. And I can see today, like in every county, there's a party. That's the most interesting part. The two challenges of such a scenario or two, let me call them challenges, because in 2013, I was in a small party, the Alliance Party of Kenya. And we had different parties. And at the end of the presidential campaign, the president now had to negotiate. And I know that's why sometimes the deputy president doesn't really want to see that. He would prefer a bigger party because you don't negotiate so much. But with smaller parties, you have to appreciate them and sit down with them. But it's also a good democracy, because then it doesn't bring that majoritarian of a parliament, which I don't think I will want to see it again, because this is how we finished the country. Because when you're majoritarian, you come in and you just decide this is what we want, you move. But you see, when you are different parties, you will look at the interest of why your party brought you into parliament. And if that interest is not on the table of what they are believing, you can decide to say this is not right, because that is not the interest of my people. And therefore, in terms of having parties, we must have parties in Kenya. Number two, let the president negotiate with them. Because that is when now you bring more democracy. That is when you bring more flavor into parliament. And people will be looking at every interest of Kenyans at a very different way. If there are laws that we feel these are going to be laws that will bring in some sort of discrimination, or will retrogress us, or can bring the country into a situation we will not really appreciate, they can sit and they will help the country. With our new constitution, you realized after we went to court and the ruling of BBI, you realize you need different. Parliament is also an institution on itself. And Parliament can ensure the country goes the right way if indeed we just have members who can appreciate that. Yeah. But then, because of what we did, and we thought having more members. So today, you can imagine, after all the challenges we faced in Jubilee, if the president now did not go to negotiate with ODM, with KANU, how would we be surviving today? You see, when you have those small parties, you can survive, because you'll have those who will believe in what you want. You'll have some who cannot believe. But as a president, you'll be able to work and move with the team that is there. Yeah. But if you have your majoritarian and then it splits the way Jubilee did, you can imagine where they would have put the country if the president didn't have that wisdom. We would be in a crisis, or we would be having an impeachment of a president so easily. So I believe in small parties, and I know small parties come in with different interests. In fact, women can excel more if only Kenyans would have understood in small parties. Okay. And they can be able to have positions, not just at going into parliament, being elected, but positions in political parties, where we need to see SGs who are women, where we need to see a structure where we have a 2/3. It's easy in a small party to manage. Okay. Yeah.
You know, what do you think? Does this change the order of things? Does it just make the fray a bit more rugged, with so many political parties at the same time backing one individual, sometimes not an individual? Like this one now, there's been a lot of communication between it. Is it going to isolate Musalia Mudavadi? Is it meant to just show up support for ODM leader Raila Odinga? How important are these small parties that keep coming up?
I think in terms of principle, because I was the chairman of the Political Parties Liaison Committee, and we actually took this bill to Parliament all the way to first, second reading, then it was kicked out back then last year. Yeah. And the purpose for it is actually yes, we have big parties and small parties, but all parties are generally regional parties. I don't think we have a truly national party, which then means that the parties are able to coalesce around regional issues. And then it also means that when you have a coalition, it's a coalition then even though people are part of a bigger picture, which is the coalition, they also are able to organize themselves regionally and locally, because politics is local. What it then also means is that people are able to exercise their democracy. They don't have to feel that they are all being boxed into a corner for example, when it comes to party nominations. Party nominations and primaries is one of the things that everybody is trying to run away from, because they feel that the certain party will have interest of endorsing a certain individual. So it's not truly real democracy. Also, when you come to the counties, what happens is if you look at the region, like for example Murang'a or Central Kenya, or you look at Nyanza, the entire county MCAs are Jubilee. In Murang'a, about 95%. In most of Nyanza, 99% is ODM, which then means that there is no real democracy within the county assemblies. And that's why for us, for me, I fully support having more of these smaller parties, and allowing that the smaller parties operate in a space that is also entrenched under law and also supported by Treasury. And that's why political parties fund becomes very clear, a good win that everybody is able to share in the national cake on the political side to uphold democracy. So I think it's a good move. What it does to individuals within the national space, I don't know, because they are the ones to align themselves, but it's good for democracy. Okay.
And Elachi, is there an issue with this picture on the front page of the Standard? Let's take a look at that picture there. There's been a lot of argument as to whether CSs should be taking part in politics. You see two of them right there. Do you have a problem with this, or is it okay? Because there's many people have been reading from different parts of the law. There are those who say it's a democratic right. There are those who say that it then doesn't give confidence to the people who you're offering services to if they already feel you're aligned to one side. What do you think?
You see, one of the things I've always said is that after the BBI judgment, I think so many things open up. When you read the ruling, when you say you can sue the president as an individual, that is the day you opened a Pandora that has always been so closed, where you say, if I can, so because here, if you ask C.S. Munya, he will tell you I was here in my individual capacity as the party leader of PNU, at an individual capacity.
And not as the CS?
No, because he did not speak there about agriculture. He did not pledge anything about agriculture there or what government is doing in agriculture. I think he went, he spoke about politics. And this is the Pandora that the judiciary opened, which is very dangerous at the same time. But then, at the same time now, it gives everyone that freedom that they said, that you have a freedom as an individual to have your democratic right in anything that you do as a Kenyan. Yeah. That I have, as a Kenyan, I can go and petition as an individual.
Yeah.
And petition anything as much as that I'm in a government serving. I think the people who will have the challenge is the day you see now a public servant who is pensionable.
Yeah.
That one is different. But these ones who are on contract and come in within a political process, trust me, after that, until somebody goes and reads the judgments that we had in BBI properly and goes and picks that clause to take it back to court, you will always now, you opened this for everyone now. It's the same as, even as we move on, you will see, it's not just here. People go for, now before we closed the Harambes, they would go for Harambes, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they'll speak the politics. So I think it opened. And that's why I always say we need to read our constitution. I think it has so many things, but in terms of interpretation,
yeah,
because we are lay, we really don't interpret the way now the judiciary will interpret all these things. So yeah, we really need a lot of civic education for Kenyans also to understand, so that they don't feel, how come? The only thing, like, for example, if we are going to vie,
yeah,
and that is one thing many people have, I cannot go to the Goriti North and have a meeting there and now say, I have come, we are doing this. They will know I am using my office to do that. Yeah. That is why we are waiting. When you resign, you go and do those things. But for these others where you come, you meet, you are, by the time we were giving him to become a CS, we knew he's a political party leader somewhere.
Yeah.
So will he leave the ambitions of his political party? And that's another challenge. We are also...
So you think this was the Pandora's box opened by the judiciary specifically?
Oh, yes, because that space was given, and we want to thank the judiciary by how now they interpreted.
Yeah. Everything,
starting from how they interpreted the president, how you can be a president, but also as an individual, in an individual capacity, you can be sued by the country.
Yeah.
And therefore you can be a president in office, but we can sue you as an individual, as the president of this country. And every person then who is in office can be sued in the same capacity. It's not just the president. The moment they say the president, yeah, it means every person. Whoever works in government, wherever, just remember, even if you're a CS, you can be sued in your capacity as a person, as an individual.
But yes. Article 77(2) says any appointed state officer shall not hold office in a political party. Well, this is the constitution I'm actually reading.
That's the constitution. The same constitution who has the right to interpret? The judiciary.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I'm saying there are so many things they gave that they need to look at that judgment and try and go back to the constitution. Maybe at that time it was so many things you are dealing with,
yeah,
but they need to relook at their judgment and pick a few things that they opened, some Pandoras, where people now, we are using those gaps now,
yeah,
to play around.
Okay.
So can somebody go back and quote and clean it and come out with a better interpretation, yeah, that will help all this.
Okay. Irungu, you are running for office, right? In fact, you should clarify that a bit. And when you see the picture we just put on screen, mm-hmm, do you feel confident? Are you okay with this?
Actually, I'm not. And I think that's what Hesh is saying about the Pandora's box that was opened. And in particular, you see the ruling. There was a ruling that was made that the cabinet secretaries are the only ones who are allowed to actually politic because they are an extension of the president. And then you take that to the statements that were made thereafter by CS Matiang'i. who said that he will support the ODM candidature. You see, then that really makes it very tricky, because how are you the head of the security, the CS in charge of even the elections and everything around it, and you're already partisan? Then we're really killing the democracy. Also, the reasons why CSs are not supposed to be partisan is because they're supposed to deliver to everybody. And that's, so if someone was a party leader, or you are active in politics, by being appointed and accepting to become a CS, you're actually taking oath that you will serve everyone equally. So I think those are some of the interpretations that we need to relook at, because I think it should go back to what it was before, where CSs cannot politic either. If it's about the politicking part, even they should even have left it to the CASs who came in through a political process, more than the CSs who actually constitution. No, and their role is actually very well defined.
All right. So let's talk about now the Jubilee scorecard. And let's start off with the matters devolution. And Irungu, I'll start with you on this one, because you're the one who's run devolution before. How would you rate Jubilee's performance, and what could have been done better when it comes to devolution?
I think I would rate them average. On devolution, because I feel that we've made strides in devolution. We are seeing counties that have done quite a bit. We are seeing, for example, health. Probably during the COVID period is when devolution, most people became clear on what the role of county governments in devolution. But I feel that a lot more could have been done. I feel we need to institutionalize it a bit more. There is too much leakage, too much theft and plunder in the counties. There was supposed to be, even from, if you talk to most of the business people, you only work with a devolved unit with counties if you are ready to get to go bankrupt. Because even the counties, there is no clear system of how do we pay people. The pending bills in the counties are crazy. You're getting people being auctioned left, right, and center. And on a daily basis, counties are still racking in more pending bills and decide to pay whoever they want at any time. So I think we need proper systems on how counties can do and conduct business, and so the issue of clearly the issue of corruption in the counties is a big one. I think in terms of the government commitment to that devolution, also in that we see the release of funds to the counties is very intermittent. You talk to staff, the county levels who've not been paid for 4 months. You're talking to the counties who have to go to the banks to borrow money to pay salaries. There was the move to also move certain elements of funds from the devolved units directly back to the units rather than to the treasury. Things like healthcare, where the money for healthcare will be from the hospitals will be put into the treasury collection accounts, and then that money is used to pay Chinese contractors instead of it coming directly back to the hospitals. So I think the commitment, we've made strides. I think we've made progress in the right direction, but I think it's not very clear that there is a serious commitment to make devolution work and to work properly. You are the former PS for devolution. When you say there's no commitment, do you mean there's no commitment from the national government, or is it the people who are leading the counties who are just not committed enough to see it work? You see, the fund flow is from the national government. But when the funds come and how those funds are allocated is based on the people in the counties, the governor and his people. So the institution, we have not institutionalized it so that they do not have discretion on how the funds will be used. That it should be as per budget. If Trevor, you've done business with the county, I should be paid regardless of whether I've come to talk to you as a governor or not. Because I did business, this is the LPO, it is clear that it was put in the system, payment should come to me. You see, now it is whereby Once I have a bill, pending bill at the county, I need to come talk to you as a governor, and then you tell me what's my cut, and then you call the finance people, say, pay this guy, because my cut is very clear. So that's what has created that lack of the systems at the county level, and seeing that the government is not doing anything about it. Back in 2017, when I was a PS in the department, State Department of Planning, we had actually looked at the county IFMI system that then was to be rolled out, and to ensure that there is a clear, just like in the national government, that fund flow from county control our budget to the counties, to the different people who are owed money, is without interference. But that 4 or 5 years later, nothing is clearly being done about it. So
is that a deliberate sabotage, you think?
You see, anything that is not happening and could be happening, it should be happening, we could always say it's deliberate. Because coming up with the fix, I'm sure the Auditor General has raised it in enough of his reports on how the funds, when we talk about the pending bills being the first, supposed to be paid as soon as the budget release happens, before any other spending is done. It's there in the law, but it's actually not being actioned. So it means that it's being tolerated and allowed. So it's then becomes deliberate. Okay.
Elachi, what are your thoughts on devolution? Has it worked? Has it not worked? What could be done better?
I think, first of all, we need to appreciate that, yes, from 2013, the president has really been very consistent in terms of supporting devolution, in terms of even starting that foundation, giving them the funds from the beginning. I agree with peers that two things that really happened that were very wrong. One, pending bills, which is both at the national government and the county governments. And I think the president has to look at this. Why we've had a lot of traders feeling very disappointed about us is because of those pending bills. It's because people took loans and today they cannot pay their loans. Banks have come, have auctioned them. They really wonder, why did we really work with government? And so it's something that we need to look at. In terms of looking at the framework, I think there are a few things that we needed to have done better in terms of now those who run the counties, not the president, those who run the counties, there are things they needed to have done a bit better for Mwananchi to feel, because when you look at the 14 functions that were devolved to the county governments, these were functions that were supposed to deal with welfare of the people. And when you find those functions not functioning so well, that is why we've come up now with all the words we are using now to campaign. And I keep on saying, if you are a presidential candidate and you're talking about markets, you're talking about trade, then you must talk about the governors. You must ask yourself, who will be the best governors to come up with that model that you want or proposal? Because the function is with the county. So if you want to change anything, you have to work very closely with that county, just the way the president has worked very closely with Nairobi to bring up the markets that we are seeing, to bring up many other things that were within the trade that needed boost from national government, that maybe counties didn't have that capacity. But then I want to thank Governor Kivutha Kibwana. And for me, I want to thank him for the public participation framework of Makueni, that you find even within each of their wards, they have their own structure, they have their own account, money comes there, the people of that ward will know, this is what we want to use. And so he utilized and built capacity of the structures that are of counties. If we can pick that model and take it to every county and every governor to come out of this fear, thinking when you support your people, when you build their capacity, you will lose touch with them. You can't. In fact, that is when they feel you are the best for them, because you've given them that capacity to allow themselves to decide our priorities within this area. And so that is one thing that we will always have to go and learn as a benchmark in Makueni. For Nairobi, I'll say this. We lost a lot. We lost a lot because of just two things. The fight between those who want to do trade in Nairobi, those who want to supply in Nairobi, supply hewa, supply I don't know what, and be paid. And then you find now that when the president came in to now see how to reboost Nairobi, I think we have seen some growth coming in. But at the same time, we are still at a level where the social fabric of Nairobi could not understand what is county. For them, they have not had the benefit to enjoy the fruits of a county, where you can go in a place and you say, we feel indeed the county has done 2, 3. Every person in Nairobi will be telling you, we have been disappointed, we've retrogressed. They even prefer Nairobi not. So that every county has its dynamics, but every county has its gain, achievements, and also what they have felt did not work properly. But I'll tell you, for Nairobi, we have not felt the benefit of having devolution to work for us.
Because of the wrangles in between.
Because of the wrangles, and not just the wrangles of here. Because of, when you go to Mwananchi is still feeling the Kanjo Askari is still the Kanjo Askari that used to be there during the Kanjura time. They did not change the attitude, they did not change anything, and so you just come, you carry a trader, you throw on a car, you chase them all over in town. They are needed to have been, if this is a county and there's new structures and you have your askaris, you've trained them, they needed to have changed. By now, we needed to have been talking about Nairobi having routes where you can close and small traders can come in, and in the morning, it is back to normal. People can do their work in the evening, you know. But up to today, we have no framework for that. In Nairobi today, we are still crying about water coming one day in a week. Even after General Badi, imagine, has come in, has supported us, has tried to bring in 100 boreholes. You even wonder, then what is the problem of this water? Because with the 100 boreholes, we thought we will have leased and released that pressure, and so people can find themselves getting water twice a week. The same bills are coming, and these are some of the things you find people feeling. Then where are we? Where are we in all this?
Irungu, that sounds to me like an indictment on the leadership rather than the structures. And you are running for office, right? Are you still running for Murang'a?
Yes. Running for governor, Murang'a County.
Okay, so how would you then address these challenges that are coming through? Because there is the structures that need to be put in place, but there's also the lack of funds from the national government. And you yourself said that there's some people who have not been paid for 4 months. How would you address that if you're the governor today?
I think, you see, some are systemic issues, meaning that we are giving discretion to the people in those positions. And the idea should be that whether you have a good governor or a bad one, there should be no room for stealing money. And on such discretion that on allocation of funds and based on whatever comes to that. So I think then it behoves the national government to actually set up the structures and the systems to ensure that then there's very great, good accountability on where the funds are going, on how the funds are being utilized. Because, yes, Mahesh has talked about the Governor Kibudha, Kibwana, and there are probably a few others who've been able to actually, because of their own personal integrity, being able to ensure that the county funds are being allocated and utilized in the right way. But then majority might not be doing the same. And that's why I'm saying the commitment has to come from the national level. It's an issue of the policies, an issue of the systems that are being put in place. When that happens, then you find that then everybody feels that even money being released to the counties is not going to go to waste. So you find that everybody is comfortable with money leaving the treasury going to the counties. You look at counties like Turkana, who receive about 13 billion every year. For 10 years, it's about 130 billion. So you ask, what is it that the county has done Yeah, but you can see that maybe some people, individuals, have made quite a bit out of it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's really what the blot that you're getting in devolution, where people feel that the funds are not being controlled properly, and that they're being left in the hands of people who are probably preparing for their next elections.
Yeah.
So all the money is going to their pockets.
So this for you is a systems issue and not
It's a systems issue, because we cannot leave everything to the integrity of the individuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we go into health, devolution on a scale of 1 to 10, what is the performance? 1 being the lowest, 10 being the best?
I'll give it 5.
5, so
Yeah.
that's average. Elachi?
I'll give it 6 because most of the work is with the governors.
Okay.
Not really. For the president, I think he has done his part in terms of giving them the resources, in terms of even coming in and supporting them as national government in some of the projects that they really needed. And one of the things the governors also need, and going forward maybe, you see the Constitution says if you feel this function, you need capacity.
Yeah.
You have a right to write to national government and request for that capacity. But most of the governors did not take really advantage of that.
Okay.
But I know in health they've done that. That's why maybe you'll find health has gone in a different way. But in other functions and other things, let them work closely with the national government for the benefit of your people.
Yeah.
Work with the national government to ensure big projects. And I'm hoping even going forward, the new governors and those who will come in 2022, that you are able to sit as a whole regional bloc and agree that this function is for us all to benefit. How can we work, the 4 of us, put our monies together and build a capacity for our people? It can be either a road you want to go through the counties, it can be either the trade we are talking about,
Yeah.
it can be, let them work together.
Yeah.
It's for the benefit of our country. But this thing of everyone doing their own small things,
Yeah.
and so one county excels, the other one is behind, people are wondering, what just happened? Why is that one excelling and it has less money from our revenue shareable that comes than us?
But when you say they do have the CIDP, the County Integrated Development Plan, or is it that nobody sticks to it?
Nobody sticks to it. I would tell you for free, we do public participation of it. Now, when it comes, you find, do you know the biggest challenge of devolution is that you have dockets. So you have 10 CCs. But when you ask the CC, how much is your money? They might not even know. Why? Because when you are doing now your budgets, you come with your list, these are the things you want, so the governor will approve this. But if the governor will run the county as a national government, and a few governors are doing that. That's why some of their counties are excelling. Yeah. That health, this was the money of health. This is the money of routes. This is the money of markets. This is for the devolution structure, that the administrative structure that we have. Yeah. People will find themselves running the county just like the way national government is run. Okay. But the moment you decide you want to put it in a central place and you decide what is for procurement and what is not, and this is not a better sector, this is better, you'll find yourself in challenges. Okay. Yeah.
Irungu, is that where the solution lies, on sticking to the CIDP?
Yeah, you see the CIDP, and in particular on the county level, they integrate the manifesto of the governor with the CIDP that has been done through stakeholder engagement. So there will be no reason to say that then you cannot stick to it, because then it represents the interest of the people as well as your promises to the people. The CIDP is then the one that should have been used in mapping the fund flow and allocations, just like in the IFMIS, because once you have a vote head in your budget, then IFMIS will capture it. You cannot be able to move it from one to the other on the spending. On the county level, you find that the supplementaries are being done in a way that completely changes even how the budget looked from the beginning. So I think there is a need to actually audit and put a lot of focus on it, on actually where does the money go, who has the authority to change, and at what point that can be done. I think really just to emphasize on it, nobody feels that they can work with the counties and make money. And for that reason, the counties will get stuck because they will not have suppliers, they will not have anybody who can even work with them. So if there is any delay in funds, you'll find that they won't be able to move. Look at what Governor from Laikipia and Nderitu Muriithi is doing. He's issuing the first infrastructure bond of 1 billion shillings, which is great. The only question is, once that money comes, assume that the money comes later this year, and assume that all the money is spent, and then assume that he does not get re-elected in Laikipia next year. So the new governor who comes starts paying for that money. So where will the payments be coming from? You see, so I think there's because the governments are perpetual in nature, then there's still a lot that needs to be thought around how to structure the financing within the counties.
All right, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we talk about health issues and then get into education and infrastructure and the economy in general as well. I see Charlo Woodrose, he says devolution has worked very well under the Jubilee government. The problem is that some governors have not used well the money given to them by the central government. Misappropriation of finances has been the order of the day in most county governments, but so far, so good. All right, keep your views coming.